Sweet. And we are live. What's going on, everybody? This is another one of Fascinating People where I get to interview somebody one-on-one rather than, the very loud cacophony of just a Patreon hangout. And with me today is I Know a Fat Guy, a.k.a. Zach. What's going on, man? How are you today?
Good. Well, I'm tired because I've been shoveling all day, but I'm good.
Yeah, you were telling me you got was it a foot and a half?
Something like a foot and a half, and it was all slush. Really heavy snow.
Jesus. And yeah, you're in New York.
Yep.
So
upstate.
Oh, man, absolutely nuts.
Yeah,
we don't get a whole lot here, and I'm pretty thankful for that.
Yeah.
Jesus.
If anyone who wants to know about upstate New York, we have the same cocky attitude as New York Cityers, but we don't stop the car when we see a deer.
That's fair. Okay. Yeah. Like, no, we got plenty of deer. It's,
yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah, they're a pest up here.
Yeah. Well, they're a goddamn pest everywhere. Like they're out of control. That's one of the reasons why I get so annoyed with people when they're like, they get mad about deer hunting and whatnot, and like, really, deer or pests? It's cool. They just happen to taste really good too.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of venison around here. Really good. I mean, I just came back from Australia, and it's the first time I ever saw deer farms.
There are deer farms in Australia?
New Zealand, actually.
New Zealand. So like deer ranching, basically. Like somebody would ranch like cattle. They do.
Yep.
They do deer. That's cool.
Apparently, they ship it all to Germany. I guess the Germans.
I wonder if it's illegal to actually farm deer in the United States.
Why would you farm it? They're everywhere.
Well, yeah, okay, that's a good point. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so okay. So I asked you a few questions and whatnot to get us started. So you grew up in New York, and you pretty much kept that your home base for quite a while.
Well, here I'll give you kind of the whole kind of like history. Tell you my story.
Please, by all means.
Yep. Nothing really exciting in my growing up. Middle class, suburban. Parents together. I was never beaten, never molested. Guess I wasn't cute enough. So I kind of grew up, and I had the stereotypical white person kind of rebellion. You know, listened to Nine Inch Nails, Marilyn Manson, thought I was a badass, when really, if I was ever really exposed to anything like that, I probably would have pissed my pants.
That was me growing up. Yep.
Yeah. So I was shy, awkward, but also somewhat intelligent. And so in high school, I didn't really have anything to complain about other than, so all the screwed upness is my own doing. So, I did it myself. I can take responsibility. So then I went off to college, where I got a degree in biochemistry and biophysics. I went to a place called Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, which is up in Troy, New York, which we lovingly call the armpit of America.
I think there's a few places that are called the armpit of America.
Yeah. Well, in Troy, New York, the biggest building at the time was the porno theater.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well, that's pretty up there then. Okay. All right.
But there, actually, it really helped me because I met a whole bunch of other people who were awkward and intelligent and had a lot of social problems. And we kind of really helped each other out. And that kind of straightened a lot of me out, because otherwise I kind of left high school thinking I was going to be a serial killer when I grew up.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah. Well, no, it's like, it's weird what you think and what you actually know. So, and it was actually there that one of my friends there introduced me to a very eccentric radio host by the name of Alex Jones.
Oh, boy.
So what we used to do, we used to get high or drunk or whatnot and listen to InfoWars.
I did that with Coast to Coast.
Oh, yeah, we used to do Coast to Coast as well. And yeah, we used to do it like, we loved it so much. It was so much fun. So one of the things I really liked is I liked chemistry, biology, and physics. So biochemistry, biophysics, obviously.
Yeah.
So also I wanted to have money. So I got into like E-Trade, and I started day trading. Okay. And this actually does tie into InfoWars, because we used to take InfoWars and then try and like debunk their stories. So, but we actually found that most of InfoWars stories are based on some truth. They're just they take it to crazy town.
Right. It's got a concrete basis of like something real, and then they just like crank it to 11.
Yeah. So that's what we found out. And one of the things that happened is he had an economist on. And the economist was on, and he said, the NASDAQ's a bubble, the stock market's a bubble, it's all going to pop at one point. Companies are going to go under, things are all going to fail. Now, at the time, I was drinking the Kool-Aid like everybody. Guy doesn't know anything. This guy's an idiot. This guy's a moron. And so I used to send him emails occasionally because he had an email account. I email like, oh, I'm waiting for that crash, you know, just trolling him actually in the early trolling days. That's actually where the I know a fat guy comes from, because that used to be like my screen name when I was out trolling on.
Okay, fair. All right.
So and then like we were watching InfoWars and we were having a great time. And then basically I got out of college and there's that two choices. What do? Do you get a job or do you go to grad school?
Right.
And for me, I was tired of being poor. I mean, fair. I was making some money stock trading, but nowhere near what I owed. So, you know, I was basically dead broke trying to pay off my loans. So I got a job at a brewery.
Okay.
Working in the lab. And so I thought like, well, I'm going to work here for a little bit, then maybe go back to school or do something. But I was also, I'm going to be rich because I'm going to make tons of money in the stock market. Well, something happened in 2000 called the dot-com bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And wow, that just like practically wiped me out, wiped out my E-Trade account, wiped it out.
It destroyed my entire IT career. I had a blossoming IT career in 2000, and that was it.
Yeah,
I was done.
Yeah, but actually, I remembered. I'm like, my God, I was trolling that economist who told me it was going to happen. I'm like, what the fuck? So I started to follow that guy, and he led me into all these other economists who like kind of predicted that it was coming. So after 9/11. You know, I was like in the run up to the Iraq War. I wasn't a big fan. And that's where I bumped into a small Siri channel called TYT. Well, I actually tried a couple times to call in to talk to Cenk.
Mm-hmm.
I never got through, but I tried. And I agreed with a lot of, and they weren't that bad back then. I don't know if you knew them back in the early 2000s. They weren't that bad.
No, I only came into it when it became obvious that they were like insane.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, they weren't too, like Cenk was humble. He would actually say, I don't know.
That's different than now. Jesus.
Yeah. But so I just kept rolling in my career at working at a brewery. I won't name them because in case a story comes out, I don't want people to be like, because we had a lot of crazy, insane stuff. And when I got in there, the brewery just started going off like gangbusters.
Mm.
So the brewery, we're like, and one thing you got to know, if you're at a brewery, you need to, you will either learn how to control your drinking or you will wash out.
Oh, I'm sure. I knew a few people who work at the breweries here, and they get under pours all the constantly, just under pours and under pours and under pours. So they have so much beer on them at all times. And I knew a guy who washed out because of that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the same scenario is with casinos. You know, if you can't control your gambling, you can't work at a casino. So, and when I was in college, I went to for spring break. We went down to Aruba.
Okay.
And that's where I kind of got into kind of traveling. I come from a family with two other brothers, so we didn't travel a whole lot. You know, and so.
Too expensive.
Yeah, too expensive. But I went to, down to Aruba, and we had a great time. Had a fantastic time. And I met a guy there, and he said something to me, and I always remember it. Wish I could remember his name. Where he said, where we were talking about something. I forget. We were talking about, I was talking about like England. And he goes, you ever been to England? And I go, no. He's like, then why should you talk about England? You should shut the fuck up.
Okay.
Because he's like, you are just so fucking wrong. You have no idea what you're talking about. He's like, you haven't been there, so you don't know what you're talking about. And so he's like, he's like, I'm from England. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, obviously that's like true. And since we're on like in that area, here's my little Irish cap.
Nice.
Oh, quick shout out to Dave Cullen. Fix your fucking roads, okay?
Yeah, dude. Oh my god.
And if anyone who doesn't know, Ireland driving is a contact sport.
Yeah, the like I haven't been to Ireland myself, but I've seen the roads and I've heard people bitch about it before. I wonder you've been to New Orleans. How does it compare between New Orleans and Ireland for roads?
Ireland's way worse. See, there's no shoulder. None.
Okay.
And the speed limit is insane. It's like it'll be like 100 kilometers per hour. There's no way you could get there. Because I've been on roads, they're all windy, they're really small. I mean, some of the roads are like a car and a half width, and it's two-way.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's no way. It's insanity the way they do their roads. I mean, it just makes zero sense. Oh God! I mean, it's just like it took years off my life driving in Ireland.
Mm-hmm. It's because you're constantly clenching and shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the other thing in Ireland. 3 beers. That's all it's on tap at all the bars. 3 fucking beers. You get Guinness, usually like Stella, and like Bud Light. Like,
oh shit.
Yeah.
No thanks. I'm spoiled with beer where I live. No.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The other thing about Ireland, there are more than 2 kinds of soup. I want the Irish people to realize there are more than 2 kinds of soup. It's either potato or vegetable. Everywhere in Ireland.
Yeah. You think they'd have like a good chowder? I mean, they got plenty of seafood.
Yeah. The one time, just a story from Dublin. We went to Temple Bar, and one thing you'll never hear is no one says Ireland or England. You got to go there for the food. No one ever says that. The food is terrible. So you have to eat ethnic whenever you can. But the only real ethnic places are like in Dublin. Mm-hmm. So I walked into a Lebanese restaurant, and they looked at me like I had like a third eye. Like, what the fuck are you doing here? Because it was all like Middle Easterners. They're all looking like you're so out of place. And they're like, are you looking for directions? I'm like, no, I want to eat here. Are you sure? Like, yeah. The
food is amazing.
Oh, the food was fantastic. Best meal I had in Ireland. Sorry, Dave. I mean, Colin's got to he's got to man up and admit the problems in his.
I love Dave.
Yeah, but so when back in the 2000s, so I was the brewery's growing like gangbusters, and the brewery actually starts getting bought out by bigger companies. Mm-hmm. And I just start moving up the chain because these bigger companies don't have people working in the lab who know shit. So I just started like moving up, and before I know it, I'm basically in charge of like all these breweries in North America. I'm in charge of all like their lab department. So also you're talking someone who's in their like mid-20s making 6 figures.
Oh, nice.
Living in a place where so I'm living in a place like in upstate New York. It's cheap to live. So you make 6 figures in New York City, it's not so great. Here, it's an incredible living.
Right, absolutely.
So I just poured money into like into finances. I paid off my house. I paid off this. I got my motorcycle.
That's amazing because that means that you went for a STEM degree, and then for a job because it's something that you can actually use it for. You go in and you start working in the lab for a brewery, and because you like beer. And you turn that into like a fucking really successful career. That's awesome as fuck, dude. That's great.
Oh yeah, it was a whole lot of fun. Actually, it was funny. I was always like, I'm going to go back and do something serious. I'm going to go back and do something serious. Every time I was about to leave, they gave me a raise or a promotion. Yeah,
that twists my arm.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard. Like I work with beer. I get paid 6 figures. So
yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I know. I was really hurt. And what also helps is I never got married and I never had kids.
Yeah, that helps too.
Yeah. Not that I mean, I had plenty of girlfriends. I had one girlfriend who I dated for like 8 years, but she never wanted kids, and then it just kind of fell apart.
Yeah. It's always interesting to me too how many people don't know how much of a science there is to making beer too.
Oh yeah, and actually keeping it right. I mean,
Oh,
they're really picky about the genetics of the yeast,
mm-hmm.
and keeping your yeast strain pure. They hate
Sure.
contamination. So there's a lot of science to it. Like oxygen hurts beer. Temperature is very important. Temperature of the fermentation. Yeah, there's a lot to it. I didn't know that much. I mean, I didn't know. I just like when I got there, when I got to the brewery, all I knew is beer goes in here.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
But
that's wild. That's absolutely wild. So you end up traveling a lot just because of the job?
well, I ended up traveling all over North America because of the job.
Right.
Um, they eventually got bought by an overseas company, but they never sent me down there. I wish they did, but they never sent me down there. But but the next stage was like in 2006. I happened to see a speech where someone accurately says there's a housing bubble, it's gonna pop, everything's gonna go to hell.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, he was on InfoWars. He was even on the Young Turks. I mean, there's all these economists saying like bubble, bubble, bubble. These are the same people who said there was a .com bubble.
Right.
So I'm like, I gotta get out. I gotta get out of the stock market. So I pretty much transferred a lot of money out of the stock market and put it into. I don't know if you can see that. It's a gold coin.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So this was my most recent shipment that I got. That's, I don't know, 10 grand-ish. I got to put that in my safe.
Damn.
Well, so so I was working. I put all the money in gold, and of course the housing bubble, which was it's funny. I love the speech this one guy make. The bubble that everyone should have seen coming.
Mm-hmm.
And in it, he says he pulls out an article where someone actually wrote in California, if you lose your job, just buy another house. Like, like how'd you not know something was wrong?
What the fuck, dude?
At one point in California, everyone thought housing would appreciate 20%. Now, if you
Mm-hmm.
think about that, if you had $100,000 house, you think you're going to make $100,000 in just growth in 5 years? It's fucking insanity.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all.
But that was the thinking at the time. So so when the stock market went and the housing bubble popped, and it's actually still funny. I still get a laugh when people say, "Oh, the big banks caused it." You don't know what you're talking about.
How do you
Like my holy
what would you
grail?
that's nice. What would you pin it on?
Well, it was okay. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and the Federal Reserve.
Mm-hmm.
Fannie Mae. Do you know what Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac are?
Not really.
They're basically quasi-government agencies. Well, they're basically government agencies, all set up in 1933 to facilitate housing.
Okay.
Okay. So they are the two. So what two companies got the biggest bailout? Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac.
Right.
Who were the people buying all those subprime mortgages? Like the majority of them, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. Who was buying all those CDOs? Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. Do you think banks would have lent money out to poor risk people if they thought because what they were doing is they were basically getting a mortgage, then taking it and selling it to someone else. The vast majority of the buyers was Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac.
Okay. So they're just like accruing as much of these mortgages as possible.
Well, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac actually underwrite practically like 80% of the mortgages in the United States.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was set up this way, and it was all about the banking reform of 1933, and that's why I'm like, when I get into history, I actually want to know, because when Bernie Sanders says like I want another no, it's not Sarbanes-Oxley. Remember that was going to stop the next crash.
Right. Yeah.
No, it was Glass-Steagall. Glass-Steagall. When Bernie Sanders says Glass-Steagall, I'm like, yeah, I remember that. And then I remember reading up on it, and he don't know what the fuck he's talking about. It's just for show. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
What? You had a question that you didn't get? No one?
No. So So it's not necessarily like the big corporations. It was specifically just those two entities.
Well, no, it wasn't there. The banks were also like misbehaving, but the whole system was designed to reward misbehavior. So, like, let's say you were a stand-up mortgage lender.
Mhm.
You wouldn't be making as many mortgages. The guy next to you who was being underhanded, he could just dump the crap on something else. Think like you're making a shitty product, but someone keeps buying it. Where's the incentive for you to make a good product?
Right. So basically, these people were being incentivized to be as shitty as possible when it comes to handling mortgages and handing out house loans and shit.
Yeah. Now, there's a famous there should be a famous interview with Barney Franks, who was head of the banking committee. And these are the people that Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac basically answer to. And he's pressed, I forget who was the interviewer, and he's pressed and says, like, there's a lot of shaky loans going out. And this is like in 2006. There's a lot of shaky loans going out, subprime and this and that. And Barney Frank's like, he brings up, there's these ninja loans going out. No job, no income, no assets. And he hits Barney Frank with it. And he goes, I don't mind taking a chance.
Wow. God damn.
If anyone wants to know, Bernie Sanders said not one banker went to jail. That's because if you actually did an investigation, Chris Dobbs, Barney Frank, the CEOs of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac would have to be first on your list.
Right. And those are people that are you can't prosecute those people.
Well, you would have to admit the government screwed up.
Yeah, exactly. That's not going to happen. Jesus.
Yeah. So yeah, and it's the same thing with the Great Depression. People think like capitalism failed. Nope, government fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben Bernanke even wrote a book. You like the Federal Reserve? Yep, the Great Depression. That was our fault.
I find finances fascinating. I really never thought about them very much, but there was a point in time where I was working as a bouncer in a nightclub, and we had this one guy, and he came in almost every single night. Really, really nice guy. Always really, really well dressed. And he overheard a conversation I was having with the bartender about something with finances. And he was like, "Hey, while you guys are cleaning up, you should let me hang out for another drink once the doors are closed, and I'll explain the whole thing to you." And that dude blew my fucking mind because I had no idea how finances even worked. I had no conceptualization of it. So I find this stuff really interesting.
Yeah, I picked this hat up in Peru. So really nice. It's made out of llama. It's drying out a bit, but oh well.
Llama leather.
Yeah. I took it to Africa with me. That was a fun trip too.
Did you, when you were in Peru, did you get to go to Machu Picchu?
Oh, of course, it had to be on the list. I went to Peru. Peru is one of the best countries to visit if you go to South America. They've got part of the Amazon rainforest.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the Nazca lines. They've got the Andes Mountains. They got Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu is a must visit before you die kind of place. And then they got the coastline with Lima. I have a picture of me at a 5-star restaurant. And on it, I have all this food, a bottle of wine, and it was like all for like $20 American.
Jesus.
They love Americans. They love Americans, and it's a lot safer than going to, say, Brazil.
Well, fucking damn near anything except for maybe Afghanistan is safer than going to fucking Brazil. I love Central and South America too. It's a wonderful place.
Yeah, it's amazing. So they have such a diverse Peru is so diverse. It's like it's great. So you can get a lot of different things in the thing. Machu Picchu is just absolutely jaw-dropping, incredible. Actually, a funny story from Peru. I was going to see some Mayan ruins, or Aztec, or whatever. Those people, the people who made this calendar,
Mayans, yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to see some Mayan ruins, not Machu Picchu. And the directions I get are you go to this town, and then you get transportation to the Mayan ruins, which are up on this hill. Okay, no problem.
Okay.
So I go to the town. I say, where do you get it? And they say, over there. I walk over there, and they say, how? I want transportation. And it'll be like $20. You're getting $20. Like, I come around the corner, and the guy hands me a horse.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? I'm like,
okay. You get on top of it.
I'm like, I can do nothing with this. I don't know how to ride. So he's like, no, just sit on it. It knows the way. Oh, I'm glad. So I got on the horse, and the horse just yep, it had done the trail so many times. I guess it's like the donkeys that do the Grand Canyon.
Yeah. I know it by heart.
Yeah,
That's funny.
he's like, yeah, the big American who shows up because I'm 6'3". It's like, what? I don't ride. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they gave us horses in Panama. We went for like a school field trip, and I kind of hung back. It was like helping the little kids who are having trouble getting controlling the horses. And as soon as that teacher was out of sight, I fucking took off as fast as I could. Went to a local store and got a big old bottle of vodka and a pack of smokes, and then rode back up. It was great.
No, but after the, but to go back to the story, but after like 2006, I went all in the gold, and then all of a sudden, like the financial crisis hits. Okay. I still remember it. I think it was Dave Ramsey. He's like, with his hands in his head, and he's going, "There's going to be a bailout. Everybody back into the pool."
Oh no.
No. He's like, but he basically told it, and like everyone who I was listening to, the economists, like they're going to try and reinflate the stock market. I'm like, hey, that's a great idea. So I sold off a bunch of my gold stocks, which went from $300 to $1,800.
Jesus
and went right back into the stock market, which was at I think 8,500. Eventually went down to 7,700. But now you see where it is.
Yeah.
And then in 2012, Bitcoin came out.
Yep.
I love the idea. Too bad I waited a year to buy in.
Yeah, too bad we all waited.
Well, I got my Bitcoin for $20, like basically $20 a coin.
No shit.
Yeah, I bought it because I thought it was a novelty. I didn't know it was going to explode. I mean, I'd love to say I was genius or anything, but I got to be honest and say like I bought it because it was a great novelty.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, I've been selling it routinely. Like as it went up, I sold it routinely. I sold some when it hit 1,000. I sold some when it hit 5,000. I sold a bunch when it hit 10,000. I should have sold some when it hit 15, but well, I'm just going to let the rest ride.
Right. Yeah. That's wild. God damn. Yeah. Bitcoin is one of those things that does drive me crazy. You know, I had so many weird anarchist friends of mine who were like, yeah, man, no, you gotta get into this Bitcoin stuff. Like it's unregulated money. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, I just didn't listen to them.
I watched the financial news. No, Bitcoin's going to have a lot of problems coming up soon because some idiot went on a TV in England and said, yeah, I'm making a ton of money on Bitcoin. And you know what? You do know the government listens.
Mm-hmm.
And you have Theresa May's like, yeah, we need to do something about these cryptocurrencies because we're not seeing it listed here in tax filings.
Jesus. It's wild, man. That's so crazy. Have you ever like experimented with or tried some of the other cryptocurrencies?
I dabbled a little bit, but I'm kind of moving out of well, I have a little cryptocurrencies because I see a thing there, but I see a day of reckoning on the way because right now 50% of the ICOs are like failing. But you have China cracking down, South Korea cracking down, the United States is talking about it because one of the Treasury secretaries was in front of Congress and he said, yeah, we're hearing about these Bitcoin millionaires and we're not really seeing that on the tax returns.
Right. Yeah.
And remember, the worst crime you can do is not pay taxes.
Right. That's what they get you nailed for. That's what I get. Fuck, man. I felt the sting this year, man. Oh my God. I really did.
Remember, they got Al Capone on tax evasion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm going to have to pay it, but like self-employment taxes, especially in Oregon.
Oh.
Jesus. Fucking just the worst. I itemize and everything too, but it don't matter.
Oh, okay. No, but basically what ends up happening is since I have such good financial fortune, have a great job, what ends up happening is the company eventually gets bought out by like the most recent buyers. And what happened was I used to report to the brewmaster. Okay. So even though I may have disagreed with him, we both had the same end goal, best for the product. Like, like any brewmaster, he wants to make the best product. And we disagreed, but we are actually, That changed under the new company. I now reported to an accountant.
Interesting.
Yeah. And he just, even though, and all his disagreements, I had to justify everything with like monetary ledger. And he was making my life miserable there. Like, I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I'm like, well, we have to dump this because it's bad and people are not going to like it. He's like, hey, sure. It's going to cost like a lot of money. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. You don't put out bad beer. And we used to argue all the time. And I'm like, and whenever I would make a decision, he would sometimes go behind my back and he would go behind my back and countermand it like at night.
That's fucking frustrating as shit. Damn.
So when it was basically like in the what?
Oh, is this guy? This is a fucking accountant. He doesn't know beer.
Yeah.
He's not. What the fuck?
Yeah. So the final straw for me was like in 2015 or was it 2014? It was around 2014. They bring all the department heads in, and they basically read us the riot act because the budget's all out of control. The budget's always too big. And they basically say everyone needs to slash 10%, and then they go down. They say like, okay, and if you don't slash 10%, you're gonna lose blah blah blah. And I get told I'm gonna lose 2 people if I can't figure out how to slash 10% off the budget.
Right.
I'm like, okay. So I fretted. I didn't want to fire anybody, anything like that. So I worked my ass off, thought about a whole lot of things, out of the box thinking. There were some sleepless nights, and I figured out how to cut 12. So I think, things are great. I'm the man. So I go into the meeting, which was a few months later. I give her the presentation, like, here's how we're going to save, here's how my department's going to save 12%. And they look and say, and they're like, oh, that's great. That's great. Now, who are the 2 people you're going to fire? And basically what ended up happening was basically like, we started looking into it. I'm looking at my finances, like, you don't really have to work. So I'm just like, here's one. Right. Just like fuck you people.
So you just said fuck it, that I'm firing myself?
Well, no, yeah, I said like basically I quit. I basically just threw up and said I quit.
Well, I just did all this work, tried to get like the cost and everything down, and now you want me to fire some motherfucker? Fuck you, I'm out. Goodbye.
Yeah.
That's good. That's great.
Yeah. So that's what ended up happening, and that's why like once a year I jump on my motorcycle and I go around the country. Mm-hmm. And I also do at least one big vacation. So this year I was in New Zealand, where the All Blacks play. The basketball team is called the Tall Blacks.
No. Really?
Yes.
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah, it's pretty much. I'm surprised I hadn't heard about it from 4chan or something like that.
Right. That's wild. Damn. Well, I gotta say that's pretty insane. Well, so if you do like one big trip and you go around on your motorcycle, because we got to hang out in Atlanta.
Yep.
Which was great. That was a hell of a wild time. Jesus. Well, what do you do for the rest of the year? Just
I chill out around town. I see friends, and I do a lot of things. Like I do some blog posts. I've done some writing. Mm. I like to call myself a financial surfer now. So like, I do some investing stuff. So I do it, So that's why I've like, this is, it's made out of silver. It's from Jerusalem. Well, actually, it's from Bethlehem, but it's from Jerusalem. Nice. And yeah, so I have a lot of cool little collection stuff. But yeah. The motorcycling is fun. And actually, that's the motorcycle trip is how I actually discovered you.
Was it really?
Yes. I went to Standing Rock.
Oh, that's right. I wanted to ask you about this. Yeah. Okay.
So I was traveling across the country. I got to Bismarck, and I was talking to someone at a brewery. And they said, like, oh, I got all these liberal friends. They're going down to protest. I'm like, protest what? They're like, oh, the pipeline. I'm like, I've never heard about this. So I went down there for a day, spent the day there, and I looked at it, and it was kind of interesting. So I was trying to like surf and trying to keep up on it. And that's when like a month or two later, TYT started reporting there. Because this was before they had any clashes with the police. The
Right.
pipeline was still miles and miles and miles away. And when I got there, it was just a bunch of white people with too much time on their hands who were chanting signs, and there were no Indians, no Native Americans at all there. I don't know where those people came from. They came after I was there. And there was one cop there. He was sitting in his car playing on his phone. just to make sure they didn't block the street, I would assume what his job was. Right. And when I got there, I got off and I asked one of the protesters, "What are you doing?" And they said, like, "Well, we're protesting the pipeline." And they told me about it. And I said, like, "Well, how are you going to get the oil to the refinery?" You know?
Right.
That was the real question there. How do you move the oil? And they're like, "Well, we shouldn't use the oil." No, I know the oil is being moved now, probably by rail or truck.
Right.
So why wouldn't you want a pipeline? And they're like, "Well, you know," and it was just like, oil is murder.
Oh yeah. No, they'll talk your fucking ear off about that shit. You know, like you ask the basic standard question, like, "Oh, well, how are you going to do this then if you're not going to have the pipeline?" And they're just like, "Well, then we just won't use the oil." Oh, okay, all right, that's fine. Well, what happens then when you can't get your espresso beans at your local Starbucks for your fucking coffee enemas, you pretentious twat? Like,
yeah, I actually triggered them and I had to leave because they were getting angry at me because I was like looking like, so no oil, and you do one of these and say like, "Nice gas powered truck you have there."
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I was just keeping track of it, and TYT started reporting on it, and there was some good and there was some bad. I'm like, oh, God, that's just. And then your video popped up on it. You did that, and then I started watching, and that's when I became like a fan or whatnot.
Oh, that's cool. I have gotten so much shit for that goddamn video. Oh my God. Oh.
I can't tell you what exactly happened, like at some of those events. I can tell you the day I was there were no Indians. No one talked about Native Americans.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it, because I have some experience with some of those types of protests. The old WTO riots in Portland and Seattle, way back in the day. The Occupy movement, obviously. And things like protests over GMOs, environmentalism, and they're always exactly the same. They're always exactly the fucking same. And so when I really started digging into the Standing Rock thing, I found whereas there were plenty of Native Americans who were vocally outspoken in their opposition to it, they were not down there getting blasted by water cannons. Most of them were not. I mean, there were some, but they were all very young. It was all of the like elders and working families and business professionals who were Native American were just like, "Yeah, we don't like it. Are you going to protest? Nah."
So yeah, that's where I bumped into it, and like I truly support you and about doing a lot of the junk science stuff, because when I come across that crap, I just look at it and go, crap, and I just like move on. I'm like, I'm not gonna, oh God, those, anyone who's like a whatever, what the poop people.
Oh, the Jilly Juice stuff, yeah. Oh man, I have to get back into that here pretty soon again.
It's only crazy if you don't believe.
That's true. That's very true. Fuck man. Oh my God. My job has been I love this job. I think it's amazing and I love doing what I do, but sweet shit of Christ, man, there are some topics that I have to tackle and it just absolutely destroys my soul having to go anywhere near it. It is
my little fedora.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that hat. Did you get that from Germany?
Yeah, I got that from Germany. I picked up a couple things from Germany. Well, I have a bunch of stuff. I don't know. You can see that it's in German. It says it's in German. It says, "I'd rather be funny and drunk than sober and crazy."
Nice. I like that.
No, I picked up a lot of cool things along the way. Let's see here.
Did you get some Lederhosen?
No. Lederhosen's actually very, very expensive.
Yeah, I have a pair of Lederhosen, but I don't fit in them anymore.
Yeah, I didn't really want them because I'm like, I'm never gonna wear them. Oh, I got from the Vatican. There's a gift shop on top of St. Peter's Basilica.
Is there really?
Yep, there's a gift shop up there. And I got my rosary, stainless silver. These are not real diamonds, unfortunately. It was the most expensive one they had.
Fancy.
Yeah, huh. It's been blessed by the Pope.
Like actually legit blessed by the Pope?
Yeah, the last Pope. Well, what they do is on Wednesday, the Pope has a communal or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And if you want something blessed, you can go up to them. They'll put a sticker on it. They'll put it in this big crate, and then they'll bring it up to the Pope, and the Pope goes up and does his little holy dance.
Okay.
And then it's blessed, and they give it back to you. You know. So it's blessed by the Pope. It's not like I had a meeting with the Pope. And it's actually funny going through the Vatican Museum, because they actually have signs, secret archives this way.
Right. Seems legit.
Yeah,
very secret.
God. Yeah. Oh, this.
What? I was gonna ask you, like, do you think Vatican City at this point is like a tourist trap?
It's worth seeing. It is a tourist trap, but it's worth seeing. It's worth seeing. I mean, the Vatican Museum is just amazing. It's spectacular.
Okay.
I mean, you got Michelangelo's chapel. They've got, you start walking around and you start seeing paintings that you've seen your whole life, pictures of them, and right there, that's like right there, the actual thing. You're like, holy shit. Some of the stuff is just absolute gorgeous. Like the London Museum, where the Rosetta Stone is. Mm-hmm. That's a must-see too. I mean, it's just the Louvre. The Mona Lisa is overrated.
I've heard that. I have heard the Mona Lisa is very overrated. It's small. It's like it's really not big at all.
Yeah. It's way overrated. I'm like, why?
Yeah. It's Da Vinci, so I mean.
Well, Da Vinci did other things that were really good. I mean, so.
Yeah.
No, but it's still, the Louvre is completely worth the visit. It's, you can move through very easily. The only place that gets mobbed is at the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah. Oh, and France, the bread is amazing.
Yeah, we got to deal with the French.
Actually, I didn't mind the French too much. I don't know why people badmouth the French. I don't quite get that. I mean, I thought France was absolutely, I love France. I've been to like all through France, Normandy, northern France, southern France. It's all great. Been on wine tastings there. Oh, I mean, they're a little anal and stuck up when it comes to their wine. They think, oh, we have the best wine. Your wine's very good. And don't get me wrong, when it comes to wine, Italy and France, just buy the house red or white.
Okay.
Yep, you don't, and it's going to be great. It's going to be great. You can't go wrong.
It's I don't know. I think maybe it's because I have such an aversion to French Canadians that I don't like the French. Maybe that's what it is.
Okay. No, this right here, I don't know how well you can see it. I got this in Africa. Those gems are called tanzanite. Mm-hmm. And the bracelet's made out of silver. But it's a funny story about that is that someone's trying to, like, I'm going through Africa and I'm in Tanzania, and someone's like, get you a great price on tanzanite. I'm like, that doesn't even exist. It's like someone like vibranium. Right. And then all of a sudden, like, I went on the internet and I'm like, holy shit, it's a real thing.
Oh yeah.
So I of course had to get one, and this has like, I don't know how many bunch of stones on it, and like I bought that thing and I thought like, oh great, a huge purchase coming down the pipe on a credit card from Africa. Yep, here comes the flag.
Yeah. Did you get flagged?
No, it didn't.
Oh, that's cool. Where all in Africa did you go?
I've been in Kenya, Tanzania. Oh, and I had a ton of great stories from there. Ton of great stories. The Carnivore Cafe, must visit. It is a great place.
What is that place?
If it's basically legal to shoot it, you can eat it there.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, so like you'll get and it's served like Brazilian barbecue, so they'll come around and give it so you can have like ostrich. On rare occasions, lion shows up. I was not there one of those days. The funny thing about the Carnivore Cafe, and that's where I came up with like. They said like, oh, this is a native African drink. No, that's vodka with sugar. Like, oh, this is another native African drink. No, that's whiskey with sugar. Come on. Right. And the funny thing at the Carnivore Cafe is that all of a sudden this guy walks out and goes, it's 9:30, people. like everyone's like the Americans were just all the Europeans who I was with because I was on a tour because I can't speak Swahili. We're all like, yes, so they're like, no, you don't understand. It's not safe after 10. Like the army like goes to bed, you know. So we were at like the Western Hotel, which is where all the diplomats stay. And they actually like walk around like with the mirrors looking under the car, and the dogs actually and it's all walled in. Like,
oh yeah.
And I was lucky because I was there because 2 weeks earlier Hillary Clinton was there, and they shut down the city.
Wow. Just for her visit.
Just for because it's dangerous enough that they can't risk having other cars on the streets while she's going around.
That's fucking nuts. That's Tanzania.
Yeah. No, that was Kenya.
That was in Kenya. Okay.
Nairobi.
Damn.
No. Or what I like to lovingly call escape from Tanzania. So we're coming back from Tanzania, headed to the plane to fly back to Kenya. So we're going along, and all of a sudden the guy puts the pedal to the floor. And the car goes from doing like a normal 50 to doing like 90. Shit. And all we hear is like them talking in whatever the native language is on the radio and all that stuff. And we're like, what the fuck is going on? They're not even talking to us. And we're trying yelling, what's going on? What's going on? And they're screaming and yelling. We pull into the airport. They drive like right up to the airport. They get us all out and they say, grab your luggage and come running. We're like running. Like, what the hell is going on? They're like, did the government collapse or something like that?
Yeah.
We run right by security. They say, just carry your luggage. We run right outside, and we get right on the plane. No security check, no tickets, no nothing. Didn't do any of that.
Holy shit.
We get right on the plane, and right when I'm getting on the plane, I panned right, and I saw exactly why. Wall of sand coming down a sandstorm was approaching.
Oh, shit. Oh, wow.
And it really does look like out of the Mummy, like a wall of sand coming. They're like, holy shit. They explained to us on the flight that because the plane was exposed, it'll take like 3 days to go through and like get the sand out of the engine.
Right. Yeah. And then you're stuck in the country for 3 more days.
Yeah. So they wanted to get us out.
Wow. That's fucking nuts.
Oh, are you an art fan?
I am an art fan.
Do you know who that is?
God damn. No. It looks really familiar though.
Peter Max.
Peter Max. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if I ever knew his name, but I know that painting.
Yeah, he did some of the original art for Woodstock. He helped consulted on the Statue of Liberty.
Okay.
So he's pretty. That's an original.
No shit.
That's a one of a kind.
Wow.
Although it's a common topic of his, he does the Umbrella Man a lot.
Yeah, that's why it looked really familiar to me.
Yeah, so I actually collect art. So I've got Max, Gockel. Unfortunately, there's no Rembrandt, so there's no Van Goghs.
Wow, you got to be a little bit more wealthy to do the Rembrandts.
Yeah. No, here's my Jade Dragon from China.
You went to China?
Yeah, I've been to China.
Fuck.
I'll tell you some interesting stories about China. Here's Jade. Here's a little Jade Kiwi from New Zealand. China Jade. And this is why China's kicking our ass. Which do you think was more expensive?
New Zealand?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. That's wild.
Yeah. So, interesting stories about China. China, the city's shut down. Like at 11 o'clock. They go off.
Like all of them?
Like flip the switch. So one of the things I like to do is I like to visit brew pubs.
Yeah.
So I went to a brew pub in Beijing. Okay. So it's perfectly safe there. It's safer than any American city. So I walked there, and it took me from my hotel, I want to say 25 minutes. In China, Beijing is a city of 25 million people or something like that, which is
big.
Yeah. Interesting fun fact. Out of China has 5 cities with 30 or more million people.
Okay.
Well, you got 1.5 billion people. Not that hard.
Yeah, that's true. That's a lot of fucking people.
So I walked there, and I got there at like 9 o'clock or whatnot, and I went drinking, had a hamburger, which was actually surprisingly good. Went drinking, and then it's like, I want to say like midnight. I'm a little tipsy, so I'm gonna like just walk back home to the hotel. So I go walk out, and it's down this dark alley that smells like a sewer, but it's perfectly safe. And then I'm just walking back, and I like as soon as I hit the main street, I'm like, all the buildings' lights are off. There are no cars on the road.
That's wild.
Yeah, they like turn it off. Yeah, Singapore is the same way.
Well, because like Beijing and Hong Kong routinely have like all these photos being taken of them. They're like they are the cyberpunk cities, and it's just like lit up with all sorts of shit. But I guess the city really does just shut down at night. That's
wild. Yeah, they just turn everything off. I got a lot of video, a lot of pictures of Singapore. And the first time when I went to Singapore, and I was like, and you just see everything turn off all of a sudden, like this was freaking packed like 30 minutes ago. How the fuck this happened?
Jeez.
Oh yeah, China's great. I saw the Terracotta Warriors. I saw the. Well, I wish they could. I wish they excavated the tomb of the first emperor. They know exactly where it is. They know it's undisturbed, but they haven't gotten around. I think it's because of money or whatnot. They've decided not to excavate it yet. I figure just like put a like a camera down there just so we can see what it is. Because supposedly there's a river of mercury in there.
A river of mercury.
Yes, I think the first emperor thought mercury had healing properties. Probably why he died young.
Oh shit! Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, so they put so supposedly there's a river of mercury in there, and actually the surrounding area has high mercury levels. So it's probably true. And the people in the area also have shorter lifespans, which is probably due to the mercury.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, so
I like China. I find China to be a really interesting place. I mean, like, yeah, there are places because of like I imagine it probably is because of the pocket of mercury that people don't live that long. But like, there's like remote tribes of Chinese people living in these villages like high up in altitudes on mountains and shit. And those people live fucking forever. There'll be men out in the fields still busting their asses working, and they're like 80 years old, strong as a fucking ox. It's weird. Really.
Oh yeah. China is like, and actually they're, what's funny is like when people talk about China, like, oh God, this is the kind of thing. It's like people, if you don't know anything, if you've never been to China or you really haven't researched, you should just shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. China is #1 in producing and installing solar panels in the world. They're #1 in installing solar, but the demand is so great they have to still open coal plants.
Yeah.
And so, like, people are like, well, you shouldn't use coal. Well, should these people live with no power?
Yeah.
So, yeah, shut the fuck. I mean, that was one of the things I got back when I was in Israel. Because when I was in Israel, I talked to a lot of Palestinians. I talked to a lot of Israelis about the conflict or what was going on there. And I came to the conclusion that I have no idea how to solve the problem.
Well, after listening to both sides, I have come to the firm determination that.
And so, that's where it comes from. Is like, one person said one of the most intelligent statements ever said is, "I don't know."
Oh yeah, I mean, like if I think there's too many people who aren't willing to admit when they don't know.
Well, there's a lot of people who even don't know things. I'll give you an example. Kyle Kalinske was just on the Joe Rogan show.
Yeah.
And he said, like, well, Australia has a $17 minimum wage. No, they don't.
He said that?
Yeah, he said they have a $17 minimum wage. I'm like, no, they don't. If you Google it, If you Google it, it will come back $17.12. But then if you Google it, because I've been there. I asked them, wow, you guys make $17. Oh, shit. And you'll get the guy goes, I wish. Because the minimum wage doesn't cover everyone. So like the guy who flips burgers at McDonald's, they don't qualify for that minimum wage. The manager does. So he does.
Oh, okay. So, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So like another example is property taxes. If you bring a person from like Norway and put them right next to a person from the United States and you say, do you pay property taxes? They both would say yes. But if you ask the American, how much do you pay per year? He'll spit out a number. You ask a person from Norway, they'd look at you funny. Because in Norway, what they call property taxes, you have to pay taxes on any rent, or if you rent it out or anything like that, or if you sell it and you make a profit, you have to pay taxes on it. But the idea of like, so, you know, it's just, and this is what I think a lot of people get into problems with, especially on debates. And YouTubers are some of the most uninformed people.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, dude! Don't even fucking get me started on that shit.
You know, it's almost like, did you ever watch Next Generation Star Trek?
Oh yeah, I'm a massive Trek fan. Huge.
Okay, do you remember the episode where the Enterprise hits a alien species and they talk all in metaphors?
Oh, Shaka, when the walls fell, Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra. Yeah. Okay.
That's exactly what I think some YouTubers are talking, because they don't know the references to each other. So you'll get a debate where someone will go, single payer will go, Norway. And then the other person will go, Canada.
Okay. That's fair.
That's how I honestly see it. Like, they don't know the reference, you know, people don't have the common reference, you know. And that's why a lot of people, you know, real debates, they spend a lot of time defining terms.
They really do. And it never gets boring when they do that at all. Never.
Well, yeah, that's the problem why real debaters don't get to it. I mean, like, I went to a lecture where the guy gets up on the stage and he rips into the American healthcare system for about an hour. He says, this is what's wrong with it. This is what's wrong with it. This is what's wrong with it. This was wrong. Then he spent the next hour talking about everything wrong with Medicare. This is what's wrong with it. This is what's wrong with it. This is what's wrong with it. This is what's wrong with it.
Yep.
And then he said, and then he kind of gave a 5-minute suggestion, is that we need the intelligent people to like get down and come up with a good system that we can all agree and we can all use. Then he took questions, and the people who were the most offended were the Bernie Sanders people. Like, no, Medicare is a great program.
Yeah, I imagine they would be.
The funniest.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, the funniest part of that lecture was someone went up and said, like, well, Medicare is very, very popular. And he says, like, do we measure if a program's successful by how popular it is?
Yeah, we don't. That's not. We don't know. We don't do that. That's not how any of this works.
Yeah. Does the team get awarded the championship by being voted by the fans?
Yeah. I don't
that's why when people bring up popularity polls to like justify things, you're like, oh God.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that never gets dull. Shit happens all the fucking time. My God.
Oh yeah. It's absolutely crazy about how some of these things happen. Oh. So when I motorcycle, I actually kind of do like, I bought a bunch of books of motorcycle trails. This book I've almost finished. I've almost done every trail in it. There's only 2 left that I haven't done. One's in Canada, and the other's the motorcycle trek to Nome, Alaska.
Oh, shit. Wait, I thought there were no roads to Nome, Alaska.
There are now.
There are now? Okay.
Yeah, there are now. You can actually do it. It can be done. People have done it.
Okay. Because there's a movie, it really was not very well received at all. But I absolutely fell in love with it, called Fourth Kind with Mila Jovovich. Mm-hmm. And it takes place in Nome, Alaska. And it's a fantastic setting. I want to go to Nome. That'd be fucking great.
Yeah. There's only like, if you're going to motorcycle it, there's like only 2 months you can really do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the weather. If you ever want, there's a YouTube channel, Tiny Bike to Alaska.
Tiny Bike to Alaska.
It's this guy, he's like retired and he's in his 60s and he does it.
Bike to Alaska. Yeah, I'll check that out. That sounds great. There was this Reddit thread that I saw not that long ago, and this guy basically he got laid off, but he had a really good severance package. Um, and he got himself a really good dual sport. He packed up everything that he would need, and he left from Los Angeles and just went until he could not go any further north. Well past the north, the Arctic Circle, like literally until the road was ending and was just gone. And that is some alien landscape up there. That is wild.
Oh, I was in Clondathu in Starship Troopers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was filmed at the Devil's Half Acre in South Dakota, or is it North Dakota?
That's in the Dakotas?
Yeah.
What? No way.
Yeah, that's where they filmed it. Yeah.
I didn't know the Dakotas had any deserts at all.
Oh yeah, they do. They do. Well, they call it the Devil's Half Acre. And that's Clondathu. Wow. Oh yeah, just look up the Badlands.
Okay.
Yeah, if you look up the Badlands, those are incredible too. I mean, it's actually funny. I've been so many places. I'm like, when normally people are like, yeah, when anyone starts a question like, have you ever been? I go, yeah. I don't even wait for them to answer.
Yeah, I've been there.
Especially in the United States. I've been to a national peanut festival.
Okay. A national. Wait. How do you? A peanut festival?
Yes.
How does a peanut festival work?
I'm not. Well, they just they go in there and everyone's celebrating the peanut. So like all the things have a peanut theme, like peanut butter beer, peanut butter, Peter jam, peanut oil, peanut. They have a whole thing. It happened in Georgia. It was on the trip that I went down where I met up with you in Atlanta.
Okay.
That was.
Oh, go ahead, please.
Oh, that was the same trip where I was at Charlottesville.
Yeah, no, I wanna ask you about the Charlottesville thing because that's a fucking wild one. I was just gonna say like there's I've always dreamt of taking a road trip through America to find all those really weird random things like this is where they cook the world's biggest omelet. This is the world's biggest block of cheese, shit like that.
There are 3 biggest balls of twine.
Yep.
There's one place I forget. I don't know it off the top of my head, but this guy took a ping pong ball and painted it, and then painted it, and then painted it. It's now bigger than it's now like this size.
Jesus.
And you can actually pay to put a coat of paint on it.
You can pay to help make this thing bigger.
Yes.
I mean, I guess it's I wonder how much it is.
I don't think it's that much, but I was just like, people pay?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds completely stupid, but like I kind of, if given the opportunity, I think maybe I'd do it. Oh.
Well, you see a lot of crazy stuff when you're going around the country. A lot of crazy. I was in Georgia, and I stopped off because I'm like lost. I got lost. I usually get lost once or twice a day. Mm-hmm. So I stop, get out the phone, GPS, middle of nowhere. All of a sudden, I hear this door pound open of the farmhouse that's like just off, and I see this big naked guy come running out with his shotgun. Shit! He's not running towards me. He's just running off into the field, and then he just like stops and goes boom, boom, boom. And he goes, and then all of a sudden I hear him scream, "I'll get you, damn coyote, one day!"
Oh fuck!
He flings it back over his shoulder, and he's walking back. He sees me, and he just kind of waves.
Oh man,
it's just amazing the different cultures. I was in where was it? Santa Fe, and I'm at a brew pub, and I'm just sitting there drinking, talking with the bartender, and then someone sits down next to me, and they go, "Oh God!" And then they like take off their gun and put it right on the right on the bar. Now, being from New York, you do not do that.
Right.
And
go ahead.
What? And nobody blinked. Nobody blinked. I'm like, are we being held up?
Yeah, we that weirded me out the first time my dad ever took me to Eastern Oregon, because Eastern Oregon is all desert and it's all kind of no man's land sort of thing. But we were getting out of the car to go into a restaurant, which is also a bar, which is also the post office, that kind of thing. And I think I was like 9, and he's like, "Bring your rifle." What do you mean, bring my rifle? He's like, "Oh, we're not gonna leave him in the car." And you just walk up and you sit at the bar and lean your rifle up against it, and everybody there's just packing guns everywhere. It was wild.
Oh. Yeah. Another kind of interesting place was in Texas. So I'm about an hour west of Austin. There's a town called Fredericksburg, which I couldn't figure out if it was named after the battle or not. But in Fredericksburg, I stopped and I'm like, oh, so I'm riding in, and on my right I see winery. On my left I see winery. I see winery. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Pull in. Oh, you're in Wine Town in Texas?
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, I've been going to liquor stores for a while now. I have my California section. I have my New York section. I have Oregon, Washington. I have never seen Texas.
It's everywhere. Well, there's a very fertile chunk of Texas that's perfect for wine, I'd imagine, up near like just north of like Dallas and Fort Worth and that sort of thing. I imagine they could grow.
Well, in Fredericksburg, they grow grapes that like thrive in low rain.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's what, and it's just, and they actually can't build fast enough down there.
I would imagine, yeah. Like this is one of those places that's blowing the fuck up. That's wild.
Oh yeah. It's just so crazy. So many of the most like amazing. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with Boston, but we need to burn that city down and start again.
What do you have against Boston?
There is no way to find your way around. Those roads are the most fucking confusing things I've ever fucking seen.
Is it really that bad? I've never been to Boston.
Oh my god, I've been to Boston, and everything's like a one-way street. So there's no way you know how to get around.
Okay.
So you can literally see your destination, but you have to go the wrong way up a one-way street, and you're like, "Oh, I'll just take the next left." Well, there's no next left.
Okay, that would be pretty fucking annoying, actually. Yeah. All right, so I gotta know. You went to Charlottesville.
Yep. So the Charlottesville. So I happened to be in the area, and I'm just like sitting down, like about ready to go to sleep. I was just like 2-3 hours away, and I see on the news the tiki torches.
Yep.
So I saw the tiki torches, and I was, and I happened to be riding with my, my Kekistani flag.
Mm-hmm.
This is the trip where I had draped it over the Defiant Woman.
Yep. Oh yeah. Oh shit. I want to pull that up actually in screen share if I can.
Yeah. So So I had my free Kekistan T-shirt. I had my Kekistani flag, and I'm like, and I hear on the news they're saying, and they're going to rally tomorrow. I'm like, oh, I am so there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. There, I got the picture up there of the defiant girl with the shitlord hat and the Kekistani flag. That's so legend, man. That's great. I fucking love that. Oh yeah, but yeah. Go on.
So I rode in there early in the morning. I parked, and there's a whole bunch of people getting out. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. We're gonna troll the alt-right, because I thought it would be a good thing, because Kekistan keeps getting like hit with the alt-right tag,
right,
but now we're gonna be on the other side trolling, all those, all the alt-right. It didn't take me long to realize, like, fucking, like I saw like the KKK, and I couldn't get good numbers or whatnot, but and like they all had, like, a bunch of them had shields, a bunch of them had, like, masks on and goggles, and I'm like, yeah, right. Like, but then I noticed the counter protest crowd. A lot of them were like had arms as well, like sticks and bats and whatnot. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it's kind of like, and I always get in arguments with people about it who say it was there, like, well, you didn't like help out against the alt-right. I'm like, no, fuck no. Like,
I don't want to get my ass beat in a fucking random street brawl. You fucking kidding me?
The way I kind of like to talk about it is say you went to a football game, and the Bills fans were fighting the Dolphins fans. Well, which side do you support? Well, I don't support either side. That's the correct answer. But
Right.
because there's an ideology, no, you have to pick a side. No, the correct answer is neither side is correct.
Right. Actually, I don't have to do anything. Kiss my ass.
Oh yeah, I got accused of being all right when I told one guy, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go kick some Nazi ass." I'm like, you do notice the shields, the sticks, the padding and shit, like they're ready. You just got a little freaking little, bat. I'm like, they're gonna kick your ass.
Yeah. God damn, man. That shit's wild.
Yeah, so I got so disgusted with it after a few hours. I was actually walking out with a bunch of people who were just disgusted by it. They're like, we have two people, like two groups that just want to fight. And we were walking out, and like I said, like, they're going to get someone killed.
Yeah. And they did.
And they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I had to go visit the SPLC.
Yeah.
Which you unfortunately did not include in your, what is Kekistan? Yeah.
I know, man. I know. I swear, there were so many. Like Prince of Dew, hers didn't get in. Like there was a bunch of people's that didn't get in, and drives me absolutely crazy.
Oh, I figured you would have put. Yeah, I figured you would have put that defiant girl with the Kekistani flag in the video or something.
I had it in the folder too. Like, that's what's so crazy. When I was putting the whole thing together, is I had everything in a folder, all of the things that I was going to include. And I started going sequentially, like through the folder. And for some reason, there was like 30. They weren't all video clips. Some of them were pictures that I was just going to have like interspliced or like put here, put there. And for some reason, there was like 30 of them that did not make it in. And it was completely on accident. It drives me fucking nuts.
Oh, man. My heart be broken.
I know. You know that video is getting kind of a crazy resurgence lately too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's strangely enough, I've noticed that over the past few months, like normies are starting to hear about Kekistan, even though Kekistan on the internet is pretty much like just, it's calmed down. It's more of a meme to be like Kekistan is dead and like do it anyway just to piss off people who want to say it's dead than it is to. I don't know. It's become a meta meme now. It's wild.
Yeah, I almost thinking like next year I should get like a pole or something on the back of the bike and go to like some of the colleges and just ride around like Evergreen College with a Kekistani flag.
Yeah. That'd be great.
But I wonder how that would go over if I'd be chased off campus and like the white supremacists are here.
Yeah, right. Jesus, it's nuts.
Oh,
yeah. No, I've actually gotten interviewed. Nothing's come of it yet, but I've actually gotten interviewed by a couple of mainstream media outlets over Kekistan.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, it's weird.
Oh, it's funny. Man, there was a Black Lives Matter protest. I want to say like last year, and I got interviewed by the local news because I just had to go pay like my property taxes, because if you pay online, there's a 4% surcharge. You pay in person, you don't pay that. So they were protesting, I don't know, Tuesday. And like they interviewed me on the protest, and I'm like, I don't know what they're protesting. Do you support them? I don't know what they're protesting. They say, but don't. I told them, I said, like, but don't worry, it'll be over by Thursday. They're like, why? It's gonna snow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. People don't really protest in the snow unless they have no choice. I like the Occupy Eugene thing. I knew, or not just Eugene, but Occupy movement in general. Once it really started getting cold, everything started falling apart, and people stopped coming out. And they were like, "Well, some of us are hardcore, and we're gonna keep protesting through the winter." And they did. That's because they were homeless and they didn't have anywhere to go.
Yeah.
And then when it started warming up, nobody came back out.
Oh yeah, I hated the Occupy movement because they had no point. They're like, well, we don't like what's happening. Okay, what's your solution?
Well, we don't have one.
Yeah, it's like people when they say like we bailed out Wall Street. We didn't bail out Main Street. Okay, how?
Yeah.
Like,
how are you gonna do that?
I mean, either you're going to have to do helicopter money. So how do you give someone who rightly deserves to be bailed out of their mortgage versus some idiot who decided to like go absolutely sporadic nuts and go way heavily in debt? You know,
Right.
so that's actually the big problem with like, I don't know. Have you ever read any Marx?
No, no,
I'm
no.
about 25% through his work. And someone pointed this out to me. There are two huge flaws with all of Marx's writing.
Okay.
Okay. One, how do the economics of a system work? They don't. He never explains. He never explains how the economics of socialism are supposed to work. Never. Doesn't even attempt it.
Well, I mean, if he did, then people could accuse socialism of having been tried.
And the other thing he never said is like, how do you get there? You know, how do you get there from here?
Right. How do you change capitalism to socialism?
Yeah.
What are these stepping stones?
Yeah, but when it comes to that, when it comes to like, I hate it when people compare, say like, well, is Star Trek, the United Federation of Planets, this socialist utopia? You know, there is a socialist utopia in Star Trek.
Which one?
The Borg.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, yeah, I wouldn't say that. The thing about, you can't really say that Starfleet and the Federation are socialists, but because by that metric, it's just completely inappropriate to use that term.
Yeah.
The basically Star Trek is a it's a post economic society. Like the economics for at least the consolidated federation is non-existent. You don't need money. You don't have to have money.
Well, it's actually kind of funny is that they kind of in DS9 they kind of bring the economics back.
Oh yeah. Oh no, yeah. You can earn money if you want, but you know, like the whole idea is Roddenberry's vision wasn't about a socialist utopia. His vision was basically modeling a society that's gotten past greed. And that was it. It really doesn't actually have anything to do about an economic model. It's just that humanity has gotten to a point where they're so invested in other shit that greed is irrelevant. It just doesn't matter anymore.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, but I hate when people try and use Star Trek for socialism. Fucking stop it.
Well, I just tell them it's like the Borg, and it's like the Borg operate exactly how I would imagine a socialist system would. Yeah. They assume because from the Borg point of view, they're helping other civilizations.
Oh yeah, yep. They're helping them to become superior by being them. You know?
Yeah. So it's exactly like the Borg is exactly how it like. But I hate it too when people like throw those things out there. Well, you know you got to be like Star Trek. The funny one was the Wakanda stuff. Now it's like, oh, the we was kings.
Yeah. That shit's pretty wild. I like I like one of the problems when you talk to a Kang is that if they say something like we was Kangs in Egypt, and you say, well, yeah, actually that's technically true. There was absolutely black pharaohs for a while. And then they got kicked back out, and then then there were no more Nubian pharaohs. And like you could try and be charitable and be like, yeah, like some of them they was Kangs and shit, but then they were not Kangs and shit, and they get even more mad than if you're just like, nah. Like if you even like throw them that little line and you show that you know that history of Egypt better than them, they get pissed. They get so mad.
Oh, another story from Africa. I was in Kenya, and I'm just like, we're stopped at like some diner or whatnot to gas up the bus, and all of a sudden, this UN fleet comes by because Uganda is in the middle of a civil war.
I didn't know that.
Well, at the time they were in a civil war. I don't know if they are yet. So they come by, and it's like tank, armor personnel carrier, tank, armor personnel carrier, truck, tank, and all the guys are loaded with machine guns, and they just park on the side of the road. So I decided to walk up there and talk to them, and they're like, yeah, we're giving food. I'm like, you have a small battalion.
Yeah, for food.
For 2 trucks. I'm like, do you really think they're going to take down the tank? And they're like, oh yeah, we expect to be attacked. And he says, He's like, I expect to shoot a bunch of people. I'm like, wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah, they said. Oh, he says like, oh, it's all messed up in there. I'm like,
Wow.
wow. Oh yeah,
That's
if
fucking
you
crazy.
you start traveling the world, you see a lot of funky stuff. Like I was
Wow.
in South America. I want to say I was in Bolivia or was it Peru? I was somewhere in that area. I'm on a bus. We go through a police checkpoint. So they're like, everyone get off the bus. Okay. So I get off the bus and they ask me like ID. I throw in my passport. They're like, oh shit, American. So I'm like led off to like my own place where they get me a place to sit down. They bring me a Coke, like while everyone else is boom, like on the bus.
Oh, wow.
So like they're going through it and they're going through like the bunch of the people and they're like, and someone's like there is talking like, how you doing? You know, can we get you anything? And I'm like, man, this is really fucked up. They grabbed one guy, pulled him off to the side of the road, kicked him in the back of the knee. So he went to his knees, pulled out a pistol, shot him in the back of the head and let him roll off to the side of the road.
Wow.
Then they're like, everyone back on the bus.
You know, that's so weird. In Panama, before I moved there, this didn't happen to me, but this happened to my mom's best friend. It was about 3 months before we got there. It was right on people were starting to go up to the Bridge of the Americas, you know, the one that crosses the canal.
Yeah.
And she was one car behind this one car that gets pulled over. And in Panama, there's two types of cops. You got the traffic cops, which are unarmed. They just wear blue shirts and they have the reflective vests on. And then you have, I don't even know what they call, I guess they call them the federales, but they ride around two motorcycles deep. So 4 guys. Mm-hmm. They wear all black and they're carrying fully automatic submachine guns, right? They look intimidating as fuck. They pulled over this Cadillac, and it's the Cadillac and then a car and then my mom's best friend. And they pull him over, but you can barely get by. So pretty much traffic is stopped because of this, because the bridge is tiny. Well, it's huge, but it's narrow. And they tap on the window. He rolls it down. They talk for about 30 seconds. And then they like gesture like that. And the guy looks and they pull out a pistol and shoot him in the head. And they got back on their bikes and kept going and left him in his car there for the other regular cops to come and pick it up. He was a drug dealer.
Wow.
No, that's what they do. They execute him immediately.
You know, the funny thing is that after I get back, I went to the American embassy and I told them all about it. And they're like, was he American? I'm like, no. Okay. So what?
Yeah, we don't care.
Like, what do you want us to do? Send in a tactical nuclear strike? What do you want us to do?
Yeah. Jeez, it's so nuts, man.
Oh yeah, the world's a really crazy place. And morality and like people don't understand, like, you know, just little, especially when you get into the third world, like how things actually operate. I mean, most people don't know what desperate poverty is. I mean, the vast majority of people in the world would like to live like the poor of the United States.
Oh yeah, in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, they would. It's and I think getting a chance to really see that and understand that can really enrich a person, especially an American, if they get a chance to really go somewhere and see like the developing world.
That's actually why I can't really watch travel vloggers too much. Because more often than not, they're in the third world because it's obviously a lot cheaper. But I remember one travel vlogger, I won't drop his name. He went to this beautiful place, which I had been. And I know for a fact to get there, you have to go through this dirt poor shithole town where like if you drive through, you can see people shitting on the floor, like shitting out in the open.
Right.
And I'm like, well, you know what the next video is going to be about? Like, look at this desperate poverty. Nope.
Right.
Nope.
No, just skipped it.
Nope,
Fuck it.
Nope. We missed it. Nope. I'm like, I'm too many of them go to places where people are being exploited.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I mean, I'm fine with them doing like the kind of nice stuff like that, but occasionally throw in a video where you kind of say like, look at these people, you know, how they're fucking doing.
This is the reality of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I can't watch travel vloggers.
Yeah. I can't watch travel vloggers because I get too jealous.
Oh, okay. Well, I've seen most of their places. Don't worry. They're really nice.
All right. Well, anyway, we're gonna have to wrap it up there. I gotta go get my kiddo. But I'm glad that we finally got a chance to do this. We've been meaning to for months, I think.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for everybody who's watching out there live, goodbye. Anybody watching in the future, bye-bye. It's over. You want to say bye?
Sure. Bye. And remember,
guys.
Tech stand forever.
Tech stand forever. Damn right.